Welcome to the first learning video for those of you that needed extra help today on reviewing, adding, and subtracting decimals. In class today we had a warm-up and we worked with this Notecatcher, which is right there, and that should be in your binder. The Notecatchers are going to be used this year to review skills and also to bring home to your family in case they want to see what you're working on, and they can also learn how to help you. What I'm going to do today is talk a little bit about both of the examples that are completed and then do a few sample problems with your homework. So whenever you see a Notecatcher, I want you to think about your close reading skills. For example, at the top of every page in the Notecatcher, there may be a reminder or a definition, may have some important information. It's a good idea to use a highlighter or a colored pen to look for key words. For example, when I read this, remember to align decimals when you add and subtract so you are combining the same place values. Keep in mind that you may also have to borrow when you subtract. So after I read that, I reread and I circle and underline key things. Remember to line decimals when I add and subtract. Because I'm combining the same place values. And then keep in mind that I may have to borrow when I subtract. So I've used color here, which helps me to remember two different things. One, that I'm going to line decimals up anytime I add and subtract, and two, that I may have to borrow whenever I subtract. Let's look at the first example. On the first example, it asks me to find the sum. The word sum indicates that there is an addition problem. In this addition problem, I notice that the first number is written in decimal form, but the second number is not. So when I rewrite my problem, which you can see here with that font, that's a sample student work, I'm going to change 6, this number 6 up here, I'm going to just think of that as 6.0 because I want to line decimals up. So I've written the 12.85, and then I've written the 6, and then I actually put in 2 zeros because the first number is 12 and 85 hundredths, so I want to have zeros all the way to the hundredths place. And then for the third number, I line the decimal up, just like I did with the first two numbers. The decimals lined up, and I fill in what we call placeholders, these zeros. Once I've completed that, I just add the numbers. So let's clean this up a little bit so it's easier for you to follow along. A quick review. When adding, line up the decimals so you are combining common place values, and then just work through the problem. 5 plus 0 plus 0 is 5. 8 plus 0 plus 4 is 12. So I'm going to put a carry here. That 1 moves up here. So now I have 1 plus 2 plus 6, which is 9. And then 1 is added just to itself. So my final answer is 19 and 25 hundredths. So we're going to practice the skill. In your Notecatcher, every time you see this pencil, it's a place for you to do some work. You do not have to do work if it's already completed and there's no pencil. Find the sum. So the sum is an addition problem. I'm going to line the decimals up. 78 and 9/10 plus 16 and 94 hundredths. I need a placeholder right here. 4 plus 0 is 4. 9 plus 9 is 18. I need to do a carry. 1 and 8 make 9, plus 6 more is 15. I need to do a carry. 7 plus 1 is 8, plus 1 is 9. And I'm going to bring the decimal down. It's always helpful to pick up a calculator after you work a problem out and check your work. 78.9 plus 16.94 equals 95.84. I've checked my work. I'm going to write my answer in the answer blank. It's also useful to be able to check your work by going backwards. So I'm going to bring in another page here. Another great way to check your work is to do an inverse operation. Start with the answer, 95.84, and do the opposite operation. So instead of an addition problem, do a subtraction problem. Subtract 16.94, and if I subtract 16.94 from 95.84, my answer should be 78.9 if I've done my work correctly. I know that you have learned that in elementary school. So let's check. 4 take away 4 is 0. 8 take away 9. I can't take 9/10 from 8/10, so I'm going to do an exchange or a borrow. I'm going to borrow 1 whole from there, so that becomes 4, and add it there. So this is 1.8 take away 9/10, but we also think about it as 18 take away 9, which is 9. Bring the decimal down and continue to work. Now I have 4 take away 6. Since 4 is smaller than 6, I need to do another exchange or borrow. And I'm going to take 110 from 90 and add that 10 to the 4, so I have 14. 14 take away 6 is 8. 8 take away 1 is 7. It checks because I ended up with the number I started with on the left-hand side of the page. For the rest of this learning video, we're going to check with the calculator. So the next practice your skill problem is on the left-hand side of the page. I'm going to go to a single page display. It's a little bit bigger, and follow the directions. Find the difference, which is a subtraction problem, between 121 and 36 and 4/100. Remember, whenever you add and subtract, you need to line up the decimals. Since I know 36 and 4/100 has 2 decimal places and 121 did not have any, I'm going to fill in with placeholders. Subtract, line up the decimals, and now I'm ready to begin the problem. 0 is smaller than 4, so I have to do an exchange or a borrow. That means the same thing. So I have to look all the way over to here because I have a 0 next to a 0. So I'm going to take that whole and make it a 0 and put that over here. So now I have 10 tenths. So I still need to continue to borrow. That's going to become 9, and I'm going to move the 1 to there. So I have 10 hundredths take away 4 hundredths, which is 6 in the hundredths place. And now I have 9 hundredths take away no hundredths. I'm going to bring down the decimal. Now I have 0 ones take away 6 ones, so I have to do another borrow. I'm going to take away from the 2 and make that a 10. 10 take away 6 is 4. 1 is smaller than 3, so I have to do another exchange. Make that an 11. 11 take away 3 is 8. That was a tricky problem. So I'm going to check my work with a calculator. 84, oops, 121 is what I meant to type in. Take away 36 and 4 hundredths. 84.96, check. That's my final answer. I'm going to put my calculator away. This last problem asked me to evaluate, and there are no parentheses in the problem. So I have to do the subtraction before the addition, because the rule is you do addition and subtraction, whichever shows up first in the problem. In other words, you work left to right. So the first thing I'm going to do, and I'll mark it with the number 1, is do 168.7 minus 26.004. I'm going to put placeholders in, and I'm going to begin the problem now. Since I can't take 4 from 0, and there's also a 0 here, I have to look all the way to the 7 to do my first borrow or exchange. So I'm going to take change that 7 to a 6 because I'm borrowing 100 and I'm making this 100. But then I have to take this set down to a 90 and make that a 10. So 10 take away 4 is 6. Now I'm going to do 9 take away 0 and 6 take away 0. Bring the decimal down. 6 from 8 is 2. 6 take away 2 is 4. So step 1, I have 142.696, or 142 and 696 thousandths. For step 2, I have to add. So I'm going to indicate that with a 2. Actually, I think I have a little bit of room right below. So I'm just going to draw an arrow and write in the 12 and 32 hundredths. I need a placeholder. And I'm going to add 9 and 2 make 11, 6 and 3 and 1 make 10, 1 and 2 plus another 2 make 5, 4 and 1 make 5, and 1 and 0 makes 1. I'm going to check my work with my calculator. Step 1 is 168.7, take away 26.004. I'll move that over so you can see the problem. 142.696, step 1 correct. Now I'm going to add 12.32, 155.016. My final answer is correct. If you need help with the homework, which tonight's homework was a little crossword puzzle, you can open up the crossword learning video, which will be posted on my website.